Hi, this is Daniela, and welcome to Bestie Life, the podcast, where we help you stop burnout now. If you're tired of running on empty, juggling all the things, and wondering when your life is supposed to feel better, you're in the right place. This show is your go-to space for real talk and practical strategies to help you protect your energy, create balance, and actually enjoy the life you're working so hard for. You'll get a mix of solo episodes and honest conversations with guests. My goal is to help you feel less alone, more empowered, and way more in control of your time and energy and well-being. So let's get into it. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Bestie Life, the podcast, where we talk about practical ways to beat burnout, protect your energy, and actually enjoy your life again. Today's episode is about something that trips up even the smartest, most capable people I know, including me at times, because, you've read the books, you've listened to the podcast, you've taken the courses, and yet a lot of times things can still feel the same because what we do is we overload ourselves with content, with the information, but really haven't learned the method. So it's like, a lot about the what, but not necessarily about the how. And that's what we're going to unpack today. Why it's not just what you do when it comes to burnout prevention and taking care of yourself that matters, but how you do it. So grab something to write with, grab your favorite beverage, and let's dive in. All right, so let's be honest here. We live in a world that glorifies learning. There's always a new how-to list, productivity hack, or morning routine that promises to, quote, fix everything. And we eat it up, right? Because first of all, we want to feel better as quick as possible and are looking for the shortest way to get there. But also learning feels productive. Just the act of reading a new article or highlighting a quote and your brain's like, yes, I'm doing something about this. But here's the problem. Learning without applying is like buying workout clothes and never leaving the couch to actually use them. While it might look great and it feels good for a minute, nothing is actually moving in the direction that you want to go. And that's what I've heard called the knowledge trap. You end up with a pile of information and zero transformation. So let's break this down, content versus method, the what versus the how. So like I said, content is the what. It's the information, the self-care tips, the boundary scripts, the time blocking strategies. It's a lot of the stuff that we feel like, oh yeah, we know this already. And so when we hear it, sometimes we don't even really tune in because it feels like common knowledge or things we've already read about and learned about. The method is the how, and this is the part that's missing a lot of times. It's how you implement, how you follow through, and how you adjust when life doesn't go as planned that starts to make the difference, that actually moves the needle towards that goal you're trying to achieve. So here's an example for you. You might know the content, such as taking breaks during the day improves your focus and energy. But the method of how you build those breaks into your day, how you handle some of the thoughts, limiting beliefs, and guilt that might come up when you take that break, as well as how you protect your time when either someone asks for it during one of those breaks or when things get busy. That's the part that people skipped, but that's the part that you need to put into place in order to start making a difference. Because mastering a method, it's going to take practice, patience, and consistency. And I know that's less exciting than learning new things. That's the part that can get boring, that can feel tedious, that we kind of check out on. But that's the thing that actually starts to create the change. So this is why mastering the method actually matters, because when you focus on that how, on the method, you start to shift from consuming, which is where you're learning all sorts of stuff, to actually creating results. Think about any skill you have, whether it's cooking or parenting or exercising or leadership at work. Knowing the steps necessarily doesn't make you good at it. Doing it, reflecting it, tweaking, and doing it again, that's where the mastery happens. That's that practice part. And it's the same with burnout prevention and self-care. You could know all 8 pillars of self-care by heart, but if you only apply them when things are falling apart, then they don't necessarily work. That happens with any of the skills, breathing, meditation, if you only try and use them when things are going wrong, they actually aren't as effective as if you've practiced them when things are going well, as on a regular, consistent basis, because you start to create that muscle memory, and that's where they become really effective. So when you master the method, the how, you create the rhythm and structure in your life in order to tap into these things without necessarily have to putting in a lot of work. So you start waiting for the right time to start and just start. And the results are going to last because, like I said, they're built into how you live. You've created some muscle memory so that you get the benefits quicker, and they're not trying to happen, or you're not trying to use them when you're already exhausted. And so that's how you shift from, like, say, knowing about self-care to really living it, breathing it, and incorporating it into who you are every single day. So you might be thinking, great, Daniela, how am I going to start doing this? What am I going to do to break through from consuming to using to mastering? So here are 3 steps that are going to help you move from content overload to method mastery. The first one is you're going to pick one thing, just one. So I know a lot of times we try and do it all, or we pick something really big, but if you can just pick one area, maybe it's better sleep, more movement, setting better work boundaries, and focusing your energy there just for 2 weeks even. Okay, because when you're able to focus your energy on one thing, you're going to be able to be more consistent with it. So then the second part is building a repeatable system, asking yourself, when will I do this? What might get in the way? How will I handle it when XYZ happens? That's your method. That's the plan behind the plan. So say you picked getting better sleep as the one thing you wanted to work on. What will I do when I wake up at 2 a.m. and my brain starts racing? And there's different strategies to help with that. You can research them, you can reach out to me, but have a plan. How will I handle it when, I can't fall asleep right away? Or what might get in the way, of having a consistent bedtime routine? Or would you start setting one up? So figuring out the plan behind the plan, the steps you're going to take consistently for those 2 weeks is a big part of this. And then the third is reflecting and adjusting. So every couple of days, every week, check in. What worked from that plan? What didn't work from that plan? And what needs tweaking? Because progress isn't about perfection, it's about refinement. And so continuing to make progress is how you're really going to then zero in and be super consistent on the things that are helping you move the needle. And that's where you create the new system to help implement that how on a regular basis. So you're not just saying, I want to sleep better, but you're doing the things that are going to help contribute to it. And as a bonus step, when you stop chasing new information, and here's the bonus step, you're going to stop chasing new information when you haven't applied the old stuff, because you probably already know enough things to change your life. You just need to start using it. So stop trying to learn a new thing. Put into place the things that you know have been helpful in work. So look back at what type of thing you've consumed all the information on and need to start applying it on. If today's episode struck a chord and you're ready to stop collecting more quote shoulds and finally start feeling a difference in your life, I wrote something just for you. It's the book Balance Breakthrough, helping busy professionals take charge of their work life and well-being. And inside, I walk you through the exact process of turning information into transformation. The same method that I teach my one-on-one clients to build their energy, boundaries, and balance that actually last and help give you the how instead of more what is what you're going to find in there. You're going to learn how to live differently, not just think differently. So if you're tired of burnout running the show, grab your copy of Balance Breakthrough. It's your roadmap to doing less, guessing, more living, taking on more living, and finally mastering the method that works for you. You can find it on Amazon, grab it on my website, and start putting these things into practice on a day-to-day. So thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Take care. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you got something out of this episode that really made you feel seen, supported, or just a little bit more grounded. If you have any questions or thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. And if you're up for it, please leave me a 5-star review. That will help more people find the show and join this community. I'll leave you with 2 of my favorite quotes. Alone, we may be strong, but together we're stronger. And when we support each other, incredible things happen. So let's keep showing up for ourselves and each other, and maybe even have some fun while we're at it. I'll talk to you soon.